Little tidbits and then I'll get on to my story. So I'm American, so I figured I would talk about America tonight. My first tidbit is, I don't know if you've ever come across these things online, but every once in a while you see like 15 vocabulary words that exist in other languages that should exist in yours. Have you ever seen these? Yeah. There's some really cool ones. One that I remember is shimamijomo. So this is a word in Georgia, the country of Georgia, and it means when you eat so much and you can't stop eating, and you're eating a meal and you're completely full, but you can't stop eating because the food is so good. I think that's a great one. The Scottish have a term called tartle, which I really like. Tartle means that moment of panic and hesitation when you're about to introduce somebody, but you forgot the name of the person. I think that's another good one also. Yeah, it happens to me all the time, tartle. And the other one, the one I want to bring your attention to is leogenic. Leogenic is a Tagalog word, so from the Philippines. And it means when something is intriguing or beautiful from a distance, but close up, it's a big mess. Okay? So I just want you to put that one in the back of your mind. So that's the first little tidbit. Second little tidbit is, a few years ago, a very good friend of mine from England, Maria Ryan, she was on a plane and she took this ride, and I happened to be talking to her the next day on the phone. She said, "You will not believe what happened to me yesterday. I was on a plane and I sat next to the rudest guy you can possibly imagine. Wait till you hear what he said to me." I said, "Okay." So I sat down next to this guy and we started talking, and I was talking to him a little bit, and he asked me, "Well, what do you do?" And she said, "I'm a professor of American Studies in Nottingham." And he said, "What kind of things do you teach?" And she said, "American culture." And then he said, "Is there such a thing as American culture?" And she said to me on the phone, "Can you believe how rude it is to say that?" And then I said to Maria, "I'm not sure he's wrong." I don't know if there is such a thing. I said to Maria, maybe buying junk with money we don't have? Maybe that's it? I don't know. So she's mad at me, right? And so I said, "All right, okay." I said, "I'm sorry." Okay, so those are the two little tidbits, and now I'll get to my story. So just put those in the back of your mind. Okay, so in 2002, I started making my first documentary film. And I live in Connecticut, but the editor and the director of photography that I worked with lived in Boston. So it was like a kind of a 2.5 hour drive every time I wanted to work with them. Mike and Greg, two great guys who I ended up spending a lot of time with and making other films with. So basically, I got the chance to see a lot of the behind of cars in the traffic on the Massachusetts Turnpike. Okay, a lot of traffic and a lot of cars. Well, when you're in traffic a lot, you notice like certain things. And one of the things, some people know where I'm going with this, one of the things is occasionally you will see a car that has lots of dust on it, like tons of very dirty car, right? A very dirty car. So dirty, in fact, that you could take your finger conceivably and write something in the window. So I have been canvassing for the past few days, asking Indians what passersby would write if you were to walk down this road and you were to see a car and you just couldn't resist and you had to write something. What would you write? And some people told me so-and-so loves so-and-so. Maybe drawing a heart. Priyanka suggested some abuse words that might appear on it. Any other suggestions?
Read it.
Very good. So now you should visit America because most of the time in the U.S., almost all the time in the U.S., people will write, anybody know? Wash me. Okay. In fact, it's like almost universal. You will see wash me. So I'm driving and I'm stuck behind a tractor trailer, so one of these 18-wheelers or something like that, and I see it has the dust on the back. I look and somebody wrote something and I was looking closely at what it was. And it wasn't wash me, and it wasn't a heart, it wasn't something else. It was wow, W-O-W, okay? You know, you just random things you don't even really think about. It's like, okay, somebody wrote that, why not? So maybe, I guess it's something that you could think of. So the next day I'm driving again, and I'm on the highway, and I'm stuck behind a different truck, you know, and I see, wow. I see, that is a little strange, you know. I mean, it was already a little bit odd to see that the first time, but now two days in a row. So 3 days later, I was pulling up to a rest stop, you know, where you get gas or something like that, and I'm pumping my gas, and there is a truck across from me pumping his gas, and I look on the side of the truck, and in the dust on the side of the truck, somebody has written, wow. Now it's just becoming strange. There's something felt odd about this, you know, like it's just too much of a coincidence. It's just too random to have it like that. I ended up counting for about 3 weeks, and I saw it 8 times. Okay, which is just too many. It just doesn't make any sense when wash me is 95% of the time. So, because the only thing I'm good in life is research, I decided to try to figure out what this thing meant. So I went online and I Googled it, the hell out of it. Thank you, whoever, thank you. But unfortunately for me, you can imagine that I didn't get many positive results. Why would that be? I mean, it's like internet slang mixed with truck. It's like you're getting millions of hits, but none of them are very useful. It's like a common word also, so you're just getting, you're not getting anything that can actually pinpoint what this might mean. But 2 things popped into mind when I started thinking about it. And I'm really not a conspiracy theorist, but two things popped into my mind. The first one was that not far from where I live in Connecticut and Massachusetts is where they actually print the money, the actual dollars that we use in U.S. currency. And they're printed in a printing press and driven to central banks. One is in Boston, one is in New York. And it's actually not that far from where I live. And I know for a fact that when they transport this cash, they do not transport it in trucks that say carrying $1 billion in cash on the side for obvious security reasons. So I was thinking, I wonder if they're carrying the money in like some normal looking delivery truck, but putting some indication on the truck so that the people receiving it would know. And I was like, in a way, I was thinking that's brilliant because there's no sign, there's no number or something like that. It's just something that appears to be graffiti, right? But could really be something important, like some kind of code. Again, not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just trying to make sense out of this thing. And the other thing that popped into my mind was, have you ever seen this 1977 movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind? So I think, really, nobody. I think this is, aside from Jaws, I think this is Steven Spielberg's best movie. It's about like aliens visiting the U.S. It's a very, very good movie. And what happens is this alien ship comes down near, I think it's called Devil's Mountain in Wyoming. It's a very particular national park in Wyoming. And what they do, because the government wants full access to this UFO, is to evacuate the town under the pretense of some chemical spill or something like that, get rid of all the people. And then there's this great scene where they bring in all of this equipment to survey the UFO and to talk to it and all that stuff. And I'll never forget, they bring all this equipment in like huge grocery trucks. You know, like trucks, like I said, Piggly Wiggly, or we have these grocery stores, Stop and Shop. So it looked like they were carrying frozen food or something like that. But out of the back, they pull out all this stuff. So of course, this is also churning around. It's like, yes, this is exactly, if you were carrying weapons, or actually, I mean, believe it or not, like about 30 miles from where I live is where they produce nuclear weapons in the U.S. also. Sikorsky, General Electric, these are nuclear submarines. Again, probably not the best idea on the side of a truck saying, we're carrying a nuclear weapon. So maybe this is some kind of code. Again, research. Nothing, even my conspiracy theories are coming up flat. And I asked people about this. You know, a few people in Connecticut, I had a job in Connecticut, I was asking people, they were like, they're looking at me a little strange, like I have no idea what you're talking about. And I said, yeah, but 8 times, don't you think that's strange? No, I guess it's probably not that strange. So I was thinking, I think this is strange. I'm not giving up. Every once in a while, I would look into it, but after about 3 years, I said, forget it. And I kind of never really thought about it again. So then it was about 5 years after that initial incident, and Mike and Greg and I had been working on, we worked on 4 films together. We had gone to Russia, Ireland, Italy together to do documentary films. And we were working on our 5th one. And I happened to be in Boston with them one day, and we were walking to go get seafood in Boston, and we happened to walk by a dusty car. And this thing popped into my head from 5 years ago, and I said to them, hey, you want to know something interesting? I saw something funny on a car 5 years ago. In fact, 8 trucks, I saw this. And instead of making fun of me, they listened, and then Mike said, oh yeah, I know what that is. So you can imagine my immediate excitement, what? I've been thinking about this so much. And he said it like it was like a well-known thing, I was like, how is this possible? And now I'm going to tell you what Mike told me that this stands for. This is a promotional thing for a local radio station in Boston, okay? And the WOW stands for Whip 'em Out Wednesdays, okay? And what it is trying to encourage is women in cars that are driving by that truck with that written on the side to take off their tops as they're going by. And this is supposed to be, a celebration of the human body in a way. He said, you don't know about Whip 'em Out Wednesdays? Everybody knows about No, but I guess you're supposed to only do this on Wednesdays, I guess. I'm sure the truckers would like to see it more often, but apparently only on Wednesdays. And when Mike told me this, I swear to God, the only thing I could think of was Maria's story about American culture. And about this word laogenic, right? Because what laogenic means is from a distance, something sometimes looks intriguing, beautiful, mysterious, exciting. But in America, very often, when you take a few steps closer to it, it's a big mess. Thank you.